Grace. Welcome to STAT545. Today, this short video is going to walk us through the worksheets. Okay, so this is our kind of launch page, our website for STAT545 at the moment. And there's a lot of places that you can access the worksheets, but I feel like most people are going to go to the Worksheets tab. And I will post them on these dates. Right now, only worksheet A1 is available. So let's click on it, and it's going to take us to the GitHub page. You can also access this directly from GitHub by going to the content folder, worksheets_students, and then eventually we'll have a bunch of worksheets here, but right now we only have one. So you can just click on it to open it. And this is just a preview. So you can't edit anything in this. It's not going to run code. So we need to download this file to use in Jupyter Notebooks. So after downloading this file, if I go to my downloads, I see this IPYNB file. That's what we need to use to read it into Jupyter Notebooks. So I just made a folder on my desktop. This is a folder in desktop, and it's called STAT545 Worksheets. I'm just going to move it in there. So you can save this in your documents, save it wherever you like. Just sometimes Jupyter Notebooks has issues accessing cloud-based management. So if you're saving it on OneDrive, you might have issues. So I just like to save it on my local desktop here. So once you have your worksheet saved on your computer, we can go to Anaconda Navigator, which you should have downloaded. If not, there are some instructions on our course website on Lecture 1A. So when you launch Anaconda Navigator, you have a bunch of different options. We are going to open Jupyter Notebooks, not Jupyter Lab. And when you open it, this terminal window is going to pop up. You can just ignore that for now. Make sure you don't close it, but you can minimize it. And then once you're done with Jupyter Notebooks, you can close that window out. Okay, so I saved my file on desktop in the STAT545 worksheets folder, and there it is right there. So all I have to do to open this up is double click on it. Okay, so this is what our worksheet looks like. You can close this window. And there are different types of chunks. We have sort of text chunks, and we have some code scattered all throughout this document. The first thing that you're going to do is insert your name and student number. So you can do that by double clicking. It's kind of going to change the view a little bit. Add your name and your student number. I don't have one, so I'll just make it up. And then to kind of get out of this edit view, you're going to click the run button, or it looks like a play button. And there you go. For best practice, let's avoid double clicking on and editing any of the text cells. If you do that by accident, just don't touch anything else, click that button again, and it should go back to normal. What we do want to run are these, well, you can run these as well, just kind of go through them, but we want to run these code cells. So first, to start the worksheet, we need to load in the packages that we need. And here we're going to load in Digest and Palmer Penguins. So to run this, you can just click on the code block and click that play button right here. And if you get an error message, then it's probably because you didn't install those packages before. So I unlocked this code chunk for you, and you can go in and install packages. We'll do Palmer Penguins. And you can either click the play button or Command or Shift and enter. So it's going to take a minute for it to load, and then a message will pop up saying if it was successful or not. So it says the downloaded packages are here. You don't really need to know where this location is, but it was installed. So when you go back here and run it, you should get no error message popping up. Now, we only need to install packages one time. So if you do install a package, please delete the line after so the autograder doesn't have to run this line of code every single time. Perfect. Okay, so as you're working through R, you can read through. If you click that play button, it's going to run that cell and advance to the next one. So this is an example of using R just like a calculator. And these are more kind of guided code. But the actual assignment, you are going to have to write your own code for some of the questions. And these are indicated by question 1. You can see the number of points that they're worth. And you'll see a section that says your code here, fail, no answer, remove if you provide an answer. So if I were to run this, I get a fail, and that's going to mean that I don't get credit for that value. Even if I try to be sneaky and say, well, I'm just going to remove that fail, run this, the auto grader is going to throw an error anyway because you don't have the right answer. So this is where your answer goes, and then you can run this cell to see if you got the question right or not. If you get it right, you'll get a little success message, and if you get it wrong, you'll get an error message, and usually the message is quite meaningful. So here it says that object my_life_university was not found because I didn't make it. So let's go through this question together. So we want us to store the percentage of time that you have spent at university into a variable with an arithmetic expression that you use to compute that value rather than the value itself. So when you go through this, you're going to see kind of more detailed instructions on how this is calculated. But what I want to do is write my answer here. So I think it was the year that you are in right now minus the year that you entered university divided by the year right now minus your birth year. And that will give you the proportion of your life that you were in university. So if I click that play button, nothing's going to pop up. But if I want to look at my answer, whoops, I could just write it below and say, hey, R, I want you to print this. So I've spent about 36 of my life as a university student. At this point, I do have something stored in this value. So if I run this auto grader, I don't touch anything in the cell, I just click play. Oh, I should get a correct answer. But here we go. So I still got it wrong. And it's because I forgot to multiply that answer by 100. It's asking for the proportion not as a decimal percent, but as a whole number. So now when I run that code, I get 35.7, and I get that success message, which means that I got that question right. So that question is a little bit more open-ended, but you will have questions as well where you need to get the exact right answer. So for this one, it wants us to have a vector with 3.14, 2.71, and 6.28. And if I run these, I get a success message, but if I was off by just one decimal point there, I'm going to get the question wrong. So great practice is to make sure that you often, after you finish the worksheet, you restart your kernel, which is going to clear all the variables, and then rerun it from top to bottom to make sure that you don't get any wrong answers. And then at the end, looks like a long sheet, but we have a lot of class time to do it. You'll get like a that's it message, you completed it, restart, run all, save, and then submit that worksheet on Canvas. So I'm going to save my work right now, save all. And if I go back to that folder locally and I look at the information, I'm going to see that it was last updated at 5:25 p.m. So it last saved right now when I clicked save. So you're going to take this exact file, load it into Canvas. Please don't change the file name or anything. And then, yeah, that's how you submit the worksheet. So that's really the gist of the worksheets. Now, if you're a little bit intimidated by the length or the number of questions on each worksheet, I don't want you to worry. Most of our lecture time is actually going to be dedicated to going through these worksheets, and you're going to have access to me, the TAs, and also your classmates to work collaboratively.